Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of From Page to Stage. I'm your host, Wendy Corner, and this podcast is for authors who have got their page done. Some of them have done the stage bit as well. Some of them started on the page, went to the stage. Some of them have done the stage first and then gone to the page. And some people haven't quite got to the stage yet. So I think we've just about covered every base. So welcome. I suspect you're in there somewhere. Now, today I have the joy and pleasure of introducing you to Amanda Lindsey, aka the spreader of Happy. Now, I could do an introduction for you, but you know what? She knows herself better than I do. So I'm going to ask you, Amanda, can you give us a hint? How have you got to where you are now? Cliff notes, that would be lovely. Thank you.
Cliff notes. Okay. Well, very interesting. Page and stage have been like a roller coaster for me all throughout my life, to believe it or not. Because let's see. So at age 12, I started with the stage. I did public speaking, edutainment, if you will, for
Okay.
for a nature center in my community, and we would get on stages and talk about the local animals and the local plants and things in the and educate the public. And I did that I made a little career out of it till about when I was 20, and at that point, I had a negative stage incident. I was working at a gator farm, believe it or not. Yes, an alligator farm.
Okay.
and,
As you
and
do.
as everybody does, right? Yeah. So so I was working at an alligator farm, and we had a script to follow, and I just blanked on the script, and but I knew enough about alligators to, keep the public going and do all the things. But the owner of the gator farm was just like horrified. And they're like, you went off script. We're not letting you speak ever again. And I was like, wonderful. Thank you. And so, needless to say, with that, I had a little bit of imposter syndrome going on. And I never spoke in public again until fast forward till now. Believe it or not, that one incident just totally threw me. And so that was rather disappointing. And interestingly enough, all throughout that period of time, I love writing. And so that was one of my loves, and that was my thing, except I had I had imposter syndrome for myself because I was hardcore perfectionist. And so
Okay.
it was like, I'm not letting anybody read my writing until it's perfect. And it was obviously never perfect, right? So nobody read any of my stuff except, teachers and things like that. I had my senior year, my English teacher took one of my poems and submitted it to a poetry contest without me even knowing, right? And I won. And
Oh, wow.
she's like, here you go. I did this. Hope you don't mind. We have a little thing to go to so you can get an award. And I was like, yay. I was like, how awesome
Whoa.
is that?
And of
So
course, you would never have done it
no,
if
I would have
you,
never done it. No,
no.
because it was like, I was just submitting it for, a grade, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, but it was rather exciting. So I was like, well, that was pretty cool.
Did you make a speech?
No, it wasn't that kind of thing. It was
Okay.
just, come up and get your, take some pictures and whatever. But it was, it was really awesome. But I mean, for
Oh.
a senior in high school, I was like, well, that's pretty cool, And
Mm.
so so my writing has always been a part of me, and the speaking was up to a point. And then then I had started suffering really bad with some chronic illness issues,
Mhm.
and that kind of um, brought about some more challenges for me in speaking and in writing because I had, a lot of memory issues, focusing issues,
Mhm.
concentration. Um, I there was actually a point in time where I was struggling to even just put words together in a sentence. So the physical part of speaking and writing, it wasn't clicking. It wasn't able to happen. And
Yeah.
so I kind of got self-conscious about speaking even more so than just
Yeah.
that, because I was having conversations and I wasn't sure if people were understanding me. I'd have to repeat myself a lot and that
Mhm.
sort of thing. And so there was a lot of just stuff that I piled onto myself, along with some of the physical issues that had brought about some issues or some challenges. And
Mhm.
then I had see around the little bit before the pandemic kind of started, I was just messing around writing, and I had shared it was a it was a little story with about an alligator, believe it or not. It's kind of funny, but
Revenge of the Alligator.
it was pretty much like that because it was called the story of Mitch, and because Mitch was this alligator and he was humongous and he started going around and like I must have had some revenge issues happening there because I was writing this story, right? And I had sent it to my friend because it was just really funny. And they cracked up, they loved it. And she was like, you're a really good writer. And I'm like, thank you. I'm like, I don't usually share, but I'm just like, why not? This is kind of funny, whatever. No pressure situation. So it was, and well, this same friend, uh, she couple years later introduced me to her publisher because
Oh, so
she
she
had,
was a writer.
yes, or she was,
Mm.
yes.
Mm.
And so I had when she was promoting some of her books, I would, when they had launch day and everything, I would
Yeah.
support her and buy her books and stuff. And she was very, very talented. And she approached me one day and said, "Look, we have this title that it's a multi-author title." And
Mhm.
she's like, "I know you're such a good writer, and you know, would you be interested? You want to check this out?" And I'm just kind of like, why not? Um,
Mhm.
hey. And so I kind of, I was hemming and hawing, looking over the thing online and everything. But I have to tell you, this cover right here, oh, if you can see it, ooh, maybe not. It's Sacred
Slightly, yeah.
Surrender. It's a beautiful tree of life. And
Yeah.
I saw that cover, I was like, okay. I'm like, and I know the whole don't judge a book by its cover thing, but I'm a cover girl. I'm sorry. It
Yeah.
when you're drawn to a picture, it
Yes.
just, oh my goodness. And
Well, yeah,
so
I mean, as you pointed out, then the cover is actually phenomenally important
yeah,
because if you're looking in a physical bookshop, hello,
yeah.
what draws your attention? Yeah, absolutely. Sorry,
Absolutely.
I interrupted you. Carry on.
No, that's all right. Colors, color schemes, graphics, everything, and then
Mm.
titles too. Because I was like,
Mm.
so I was like, okay, well, let me give it a shot. And so, I talked with the publisher and kind of, um, I was like, well, I wonder what I'm going to write about. And so this was my first public display of writing. And so I'm like, I'm gonna go light and just kind of see. Put myself out there because I
Yeah.
haven't ever put myself out there before. So what I decided to write about, because as spreader of the happy, I have the international happiness movement called Project S.H.A.P.E, and it
Hmm.
stands for Spreading Happiness Across Planet Earth. And yes, shape. We got it.
Yep, got
And
it.
yeah. And so I was like, I'm like, I think what I'll do, I'm gonna write about the origins of how that group got started. Because that
Mm.
was, it's personal and it's something I'm very passionate about, but it's not too, so we'll throw it out there, see what happens kind of thing. And
Hmm.
um, so the title of the chapter was How I Got into Shape. And what I
Oh,
did,
love it. Love
and what
it.
and what I did is I compared how getting into shape, spreading happiness across planet Earth is like getting into physical shape.
Hmm.
And how my journey of the how the process or how the project got started was very similar to how someone who starts a workout program and starts getting into shape that way. And
Hmm.
so it was fun. It was fun and had a great time writing it. And which really awesome. It was phenomenal because it was the multi-author book thing is a joy to me because of all the connections that I
Yeah.
make.
Hmm.
And we had 22 authors in that book. And
Okay.
so it was a nice, large group of people. And so I met a lot of people, made a lot of friends. And so it was it made it easier. It wasn't like the imposter syndrome wasn't bad because it was like, well, it's 22 of us. So it's
We're all in this together. Yeah.
yeah. And
Mm.
lo and behold, we got #1 bestseller. So I was like, yay! I'm like, this is fun stuff. I like it. And so, I
And
put
that
myself
was when did that come out?
that came out, ooh, and this is fun times too, April 1st.
Mhm.
So no, so April 1st in 2022.
22. Right.
20, yeah. And so I was I was very proud of myself. I put myself out there and, I love it because, I got a whole bunch of books. I'm sending them to my family and my friends and I'm like, signing them and, so it was a big,
Mm.
it was a big thing and I was super, super excited. And then interestingly, um, one of the people who was in the book had a podcast. And so he invited all of us onto the podcast to talk about our experience with the book and all that
Mhm.
stuff. So I went from there to there, just kind of moved in. And it was a wonderful conversation. He was so nice. And, you know, um, I'm sure there was a lot of, yeah, but that's kind of how I talk. So I've just come to the conclusion that that's me and I'm going to roll with it because one of the things he had told us was, when you're speaking publicly and, on podcasts or whatever, be yourself and speak from the heart. And
Yes.
so in doing that, that eased a lot of that imposter syndrome with the whole
Yeah.
speaking in the public again. Because
Yeah.
again, it wasn't like, a big crowd of people and alligators in front of you kind of thing. But, it was a big crowd of people who knows is watching and who knows how many people are watching. And so, but I didn't even think about that when
Well, in that moment, it's just you and the host, isn't it?
yeah,
It's that one-on-one conversation.
it really is.
Audience, this is where we're going with this. You see, if you're at all nervous, you're an author, you're at all nervous because you imagine that public speaking is the raised platform and the microphone and the spouting forth. It doesn't have to be. And here you go. Absolute case in point with Amanda. Thank you for the sharing that, Amanda. Carry on, please.
Oh, no problem. And it's actually one of the things I love most about podcasts is because it really is like a one-on-one conversation. And so it's beautiful. I love it. It's one of my favorite forms of public speaking now because it's you know, it's going out there, but it's not like that initially. And so it's,
Mhm.
you know, it definitely takes a lot of the pressure off if you are,
Yeah.
you know, worried about that kind of pressure. So
Mm.
that was my first book, because I have three. So
Oh,
very, yes, yes. So
tell me more, tell me more.
so I call them the Happiness Chronicles, because they're
Okay.
all three chapters pretty much tie in happiness in some way. And so okay, I did the first book and had done some podcasts here and there. And then the same publisher had had another title out, and of course very much drawn to the cover and the title again. This one here, haha, this one, the title more struck me because that's what I heard first. But it's Divine Love.
Mm.
It's beautiful pink sparkly roses,
Mm.
and the title again, Divine Love. I was just like, I was enamored with that. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna do this again. And my thoughts were, okay, so I did the first step. I put myself out there
Yep.
with my writing. Okay, so and that all went well, celebrated, everything's great. So I'm gonna go and make this one a little bit deeper. I'm gonna go with more of a personal story. And
Okay.
I mean, more not personal, because the other one was personal as well, but personal more in hmm, my journey. We'll put it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Because it dealt a lot with my chronic health issues. And
Mhm.
the title of this particular chapter was called Finding the Happy in the Crappy, the
I
Cadillac wheelchair.
love that.
Isn't that great? It's one of my favorite things, is finding the happy in the crappy.
Finding the happy in the crappy, brilliant. Because I mean, as you say, that there can be a tendency for people to go, well, life isn't like that. It's not always hugs and smiles, which is your lovely tagline.
Right.
And potentially some people could look at you and dismiss you as being one dimensional. But
Yes.
no, you've shared something deeper. Love it. Thank you.
No, and it actually it is I have a whole teaching with this happy and the crappy, because it it really it when I first when you know first people see me, like you said, spread of the happy, they can just kind of maybe like, well, you're bypassing a whole bunch of things here. And I'm like, not so much. I need you to hear a little bit more. And so
Yes.
with this, it's finding the happy and the crappy, the Cadillac of wheelchairs, and realizing my source of joy. And that's where the happy and the crappy comes in. And the divine love is
Mm.
that it's not that things are all rainbows and butterflies out, you know, all the time. It's
Mhm.
that happiness is me. It's not out there. It's me. And so wherever I go, there is happiness. I can be happy because it's me. And that's my divine love story that I share with people, is that, you know, it's not all out there. It's, I mean, it is out there when you're, but when you're experiencing crap full on, you're not going to see it out there. So you have to go inside, you know, you got to go inside for it. And so
Happiness
that,
is an inside job, isn't it?
absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And so that was me getting vulnerable. That's the word I was looking for, not personal. It was
Oh.
being more vulnerable. So
Mm.
because everything I write about is personal, but this was a very vulnerable sharing. And I was like, you know, I was up for the challenge, because I did that first one that wasn't, and it was I did okay. I made it, and it wasn't,
Yeah.
you know, And so I was like, I'm ready to share. And so I did. And we managed to get another bestseller. So that was exciting, another international bestseller. So yay. And again, nothing launch day was beautiful. I enjoy launch day so much. I don't know if how you've written in the
Oh yeah,
multi book, right?
true.
Have you enjoyed the whole launch day process or?
Oh yes, which is why when we launched this podcast, I did a launch party.
Oh, that's right.
We had
Yeah.
that, we borrowed that element of the page bit, and as this is page to stage, I thought, hello, let's do the page to the stage and have a podcast party, launch
I love it.
party. Yes,
That's
absolutely.
great job.
Before you go on, can I ask you, You're Happy in the Crappy,
Yes.
that was the title of your second book, and you said you
Mhm.
got some teaching on that. Did you have the teaching ready on the back of the book, or did the book come first and then you thought, oh, hang on a minute, let's have something more permanent that people can engage with me in?
What the
Do,
it
does
was
that do
actually
I made myself understood?
I'm gonna answer you and then we'll see if it answers your question or
Okay,
doesn't.
sure.
So when I was writing, it was my journey, and I had called it Finding the Happy in the Crappy, and I had the tools that I wrote down and everything in the book. And then after the fact, I looked at it and was like, man, this is really good. I think I
Yeah.
can use this to help people, So
Right.
it was kind of a both, I guess.
Coming into in tandem, yes. Yeah.
And it's not I do like I've done some like public speaking and teachings and things with it. I am planning on creating an actual course to help people go through the journey like I went through. So I think it'll be nice and fun,
Yeah.
helpful. People say that way. But yeah, it's very definitely the kind of both, yeah, as
Yeah.
it kind of at the same time.
Well, that's it. I
It's
mean, some of the authors that I've been speaking to, when they're writing, particularly if they've been writing a chapter, or even if they've done a solo book, and they've put down in words their experience, their wisdom, and if they haven't already got something going, they're going, geez, that's actually rather good. I'm sure somebody could benefit from that. Ping. So not only are you experiencing almost the catharsis as you're working through it, writing your story down and the wisdom that you've gained from it, but you're also then having something a little bit more tangible. Okay, the book is tangible, but in terms of interacting with you on a more personal level. Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Beautiful.
I love
And
it.
that
Yeah.
came out when?
That one came out March 3rd in 2023. So that
Okay.
was
So 11 months,
last
11 months later. Yeah.
and then we
Cool.
moved. Yeah. I've been kind of doing a book a year. Then we did this year. So we moved.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. And this one, again, beautiful title and beautiful cover. This one is Leaders with a
These
Heart,
were smart.
Volume 2.
Mhm.
And that one is actually that is based off of the podcast that I originally went on first after my first book. So
Sure.
my friend that was in the book with me had the podcast, and he decided what he was going to do is do some books based on his podcast, and he invited me on to do the second volume of his book, and
Mhm.
really exciting. And this particular theme around this book was very near and dear to my heart. It's discover or talking about your gift and how you share it with the world. And I was like, that was just a beautiful topic, and it was so very meaningful to me, and So again, with I've been calling it the Happiness Chronicles. This one was titled Spreading the Happy, My Gift to the World and Its Gift to Me. And basically, just it encapsulated my feelings of just how I feel when I spread happiness to others. That yeah, I see that they're benefiting, but I feel like I'm benefiting so much more, and it's just that beautiful circle of that giving and receiving. And I just it was just a very powerful piece for me to write, and I really enjoyed it a lot.
I'm looking forward to reading it. It's in my Kindle library,
Oh,
along with a number of others.
yeah.
Well, I know a few of you in that book, and there are a couple of photographs of me holding said book in some rather nice places in Malaysia and also in Vietnam. So yes, it's no, I know a number of you guys in that book. So as I said, it's in the Kindle library, ready to be picked up.
I love it. I do.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that came out in March this year, was it?
Early
January.
Yeah, January 31st.
Yes, it was, wasn't it? That's right, because yes, that's right. I'm losing track. So we're getting a shorter. We're getting a shorter time period each time. Will you put another one out this year, or are you going to leave it to 25?
We'll see, because I'm in the process of doing a solo book in my head.
I was going to say, are you working on a solo one?
I am. Yes, I
am. Go you.
It will be there. I'm not sure when, but it's gonna happen. Yes.
Cool. And can I assume that that's around the happy?
It is. No. It's all, yeah. That is my central message. And that's one thing that also I think contributed the most to me being more comfortable speaking and writing again, because it's a message that's so important to me, and that's something I'm so passionate about. And believe me, I loved biology, and I loved the animals and everything, because I was actually, before I had gotten sick, my plan was to go to school and become a vet for a zoo. That was my plan. So I'm doing totally different things, but again, it's like, but when you're, so it wasn't something it wasn't like I didn't love what I was doing, but it wasn't my message. You know what I'm saying? It was,
and it was somebody else's script about gators.
Right. And so, if you're out there and you're writing, and most of the authors, I'm sure that and that you've talked to, have what they're writing about is their message. And guys, if it's your message, that it's so much easier to get on stage and talk about it, because it's from you. There's no script. You can't do it wrong. Nobody's going to tell you, you can't talk anymore on stage. I mean,
yes, yeah,
because it's yours.
Exactly. And I mean, picking up on the point that you made about the script thing, one of the things I've been the head speaker coach for TEDx University of Western Australia for the last 5 years. I'm not going to be there this year because, hello, I'm in Malaysia. But the point I'm making is that one of the things under TEDx, they require you to submit a script.
Oh, wow.
And I upset them big time when our first meeting with the speakers, I go, I know you've submitted your script, but I don't want you to remember it verbatim, word for word. And the TEDx guys go, I know. You've had to fact check it. So, okay, speakers, make sure that you're not bringing in anything that has not already been included. However, if you're learning a script, as you've discovered, if you miss your cue, it's about like learning lines when you're doing a play. If you miss your cue, that one word, everything else is predicated on that word that you've forgotten or you've missed off. And then suddenly, like you going, the proverbial, but you had the paddle because you knew your topic. And this is my point to the speakers who've learnt their scripts. Know your material so well that should you drop your anchor, you can still paddle because you know it so well. And it's, as you said, it's your story. You can't get it wrong.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Amanda. So doing a bit of a backtrack there, recapping, you started in the very early days. Your writing and speaking have kind of been in tandem, as you said. They've come alongside each other until that time when somebody from outside told you you couldn't.
Yeah.
And that's been part of your process in the Happy, because you know from personal experience that if you let other people give you your sense of being, yeah, that's where the crappy comes in, isn't it?
Just a little. Just a little.
So we know that you're now back on both the speaking and the writing.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I love your words have power. So words are your zone of genius, whether you are putting them on paper or whether you're speaking them out loud. Absolutely love it. You've got a solo book that's percolating nicely. And I'm not going to ask you for a date, but we know that audience, come back to this, because when I put my show notes up, they are what I call dynamic. So I ask the speakers if they've got something, my guests, if they've got something coming up, they've got a new publication coming out, let me know. And then we change the show notes. And I often also put out a quick plug on my socials to go, but this particular episode, well, they've got something coming up. So that's why the authors to do that.
When my podcast comes out, I can tell you too.
So you're about to set going on your podcast as well.
I am working on it. Yes.
Excellent.
I am working on it.
Excellent. Is yours going to be a video one? Is it going to be an audio only? Are you doing both? How are you planning on doing it?
I plan on doing both.
Cool.
Yeah. I plan on definitely going to YouTube, and then from there, wherever it can get sent out. That's what I'm looking at.
Me too. I've done the YouTube launch, and probably give it another few months when I've had a little bit more bandwidth. I will do another launch, and that's when we'll hit the audio only, because I'm aware that some people prefer to put their buds in and do the dishes or do the running or whatever, and that's fine. You can, of course, do that on YouTube and just not bother looking at the screen. Different people consume their media in different ways, and that's something to be aware of. So that's where I'm going. So I'm loving the fact that you're about to be a podcast guest host as well. When are you planning on launching that?
No plans yet. Still
okay. Still percolating.
Still in the works, but yeah, it's getting closer and closer, so that's good.
Excellent. Audience, you may be wondering who our mutual friend is. Payman Lorenzo. He has an episode in our bank of podcasts, and he was one of the original 10. So if you go back to the launch party, or go back to look at the list of recordings that you've got, that's the guy we're referencing, Payman Lorenzo. Okay. So I hope his ears are burning right now.
I know.
I will actually message him when we finish recording, going, hello. Okay, so we know you've got something percolating that's coming, and we've got a podcast as well. So your stages are spreading out. I love it. I love it. It's winding up. Amanda, I'm going to ask you, what wisdom can you share with the audience as to how you embody your words when you take them from page to whichever stage you're using?
Well, okay, so first, before I go on any kind of, I guess, either podcast or gonna do like a virtual summit or anything, I'll just kind of, I'll close my eyes and just put my hands on my heart and just be like, speak from your heart. That's the first thing to do. And then that kind of slows things down. So like if I'm nervous, that kind of starts to slow things down. And then I say, remember, it's not about you. It's about your message and it's about your audience. And that helps too, because just speaking from your heart and to remember that, it's really not about you.
You happen to be the mouthpiece of your message. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I have a particular way I describe it, that you are the limousine driver. Where are you taking your very important message?
Oh, I love that. That is great.
Because some of the people that I've worked with, they've had TEDx in their sites. Other people have gone, yeah, no, that's not enough. I've had one lady who has pitched in front of the government in Cairo and got some contracts around, I won't go into what, but so she's way beyond the TEDx type thing. Yeah. And then there's another lady who's going, oh, no, Carnegie Hall, that's where I'm heading. Right. Go you.
Absolutely.
Where does your message require to be heard?
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, Amanda, is there anything we've missed off?
I don't think so, unless anybody's, wanting to know how I spread the happy, I can share you that.
Well, your notes are the show notes include all of your contact details, but yes, give us a quick clue. I have missed something, haven't I? Duh.
Website, real easy.
We get in touch.
Spreaderofthehappy.com. I mean,
got it. Yeah, have a look at the title, because Amanda's got it there. Spreader of the Happy. So I know you've got a podcast. You've got a podcast coming up, but you've also got a Facebook group that you run, and that's getting some traction, isn't it? How many is it of people you've got in the group now?
Well, interestingly enough, I celebrated today 900 people. So that was awesome. And we have 57 countries involved in this Facebook group. And so that right there is just makes my heart sing, because it's
just gone goosey. That's lovely. That's lovely. So audience, as we're recording this is the 12th/13th of June. It's the 12th for Amanda, it's the 13th for me. So to give you some context in terms of the numbers, so that's 900 members in 57 countries. When did you start?
I started in we're going to be 3 this year. So if we go back, 21. Yeah.
21.
August of 21.
Okay.
So we're coming up on my 3rd birthday.
Yay. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Sorry, just had to throw that in somewhere. Okay, so Amanda is very easily got holdable. Got holdable? You can get hold of her. She's got so many things that she's putting out. There's the Facebook group. You've got a YouTube channel as well, haven't you?
Working on it.
Working on it. Okay, so that's a work in progress. Come back and check it out. Facebook is your primary social? Yeah. Okay. All of this information, audience, is going to be in the show notes, so do check it out. You will also get lots of other information in those show notes, so do have a look. And as I said, they're dynamic. So when we've got the heads up from Amanda, we'll probably have her on again. But also the fact that this new book and also maybe the podcast is coming out. So thank you. Thank you, Amanda, for sharing with our audience your From Page to Stage. From us, bye for now.